I'm Natelle Williams, a women's occasion wear designer and founder of the Natelle Williams brand. Welcome to my personal diary, a safe space for us to talk about business, fashion, life, and everything in between. I'm on a journey to build my brand, and if you're listening to this, I'm glad to have you here. Let's talk about something I get asked quite often. How can you tell if something is well made? Because in a world where you can order something today and it arrives on your doorstep by tomorrow at 1 p.m, it's hard to know. You can pay anything for anything online, and it's hard to know sometimes. So let's talk about it. There are a number of things that go into this. Let me just start there. Let's just start there, because I don't have time to go through everything in this one little section. I like to keep it between 10 and 15 minutes. If I was to go through every single element that goes to a well-made garment, we'd be here a while. So what I'm going to talk about is finishings specifically. But down from the fabric, the way something's constructed, the design of the garment, the process, the finishings, the materials used. It's a number of different elements that affect something being well made versus something that will maybe last you a few cycles in the wash and then you're having to throw it away or get it repaired or what have you, and something that's going to stand the test of time and be able to grow with you and just last. A lasting garment, the big difference between the two. So I'm going to talk today about finishings specifically. So when I'm making a garment, I like to take note of a few different things. If it's a custom piece, we'll talk about custom pieces. But this can really be applied to anything, but where it doesn't, I'll try and caveat that. When I'm making a custom garment for somebody, fit is very, very important. The fit is very important. When it comes to something being well made, that can take a really expensive garment. You can pay a lot for the fabric. You can pay a lot for the craftsmanship. But if that thing doesn't fit well, that's just not going to look great. And it's not going to look well made because it doesn't fit you well. So that's a big thing. When I'm constructing a garment for a person, I'm also thinking about the fact that, especially as women, everybody grows. Men, women, children, whoever. But as women, different points in your life, metabolism slows down, you might have a baby, you might put on some weight, you might lose some weight around a wedding day, you might want to lose some weight around a birthday, you might want to lose some weight, you might gain some weight if your hormones are up and down, you might, be stressing at work and be, comfort eating and you put on a few pounds or what have you. Weight can fluctuate is what I'm saying. And with that, you want your clothes to be able to shrink with you slightly and grow with you slightly, within reason, of course. If it's a massive weight gain, then you're going to have to get, buy something new. But your clothes should be able to tolerate a bit of weight loss and a bit of weight gain. Therefore, when I'm making clothes for it's a bespoke order, I'm making clothes for somebody in particular, I make sure to add a margin, usually at the back of the garment, that can be let out. It's easy to take something in, but can be let out by 4 to 5 centimetres on allowance on each side, so that it can grow with you should your body change. And like I said, bringing something in is a lot easier, but even then you might have to start snipping at things if there's too much loose fabric and it changes the way the garment looks on the outside. There are complexities that come with that, but it's typically easy to take something in than it is to let something out, because if there's no fabric to allow you to let something out, then you've got no hope. There's no chance. You could add a panel from another piece of fabric, or you could find a matching piece of fabric and you could work that way. But once a garment's constructed with tight margins that don't allow for any ease of growth, you have to then start adding something, or you'll have to buy something new. So that is another consideration. If you're having something custom made and you're wondering, is this a well-made piece? I've just paid, I don't know, £1,000 for a dress. I'm wearing it to one event, but I would love to be able to pass this on to my daughter or another family member, or wear this again down the line, and you might want to customise it and tweak it slightly or what have you. Did I get my money's worth? These are some of the things I would be advising you to ask before you go with somebody to have something made. And these are things you should be looking for in your garments. Is this going to grow with me? Another thing that we can talk about is, and I have an example, finishings. Now, there are a lot of things that come under the umbrella of finishings, but we're going to talk about something specific today, and that is edges. Okay, this is the inside of one of my garments, my little logo. This is the inside of one of my skirts. Now, when I say there should be no exposed edges, what I mean is there are different ways to finish an edge of a garment, or a seam, or if you've just got a loose edge, there are different ways that you can finish that. I don't know if I'm explaining this well. Well, I'm going to show you. So there is something called a serger or an overlocker, and that's really, really good. You see seams finished with a serger on items like jeans. That's very, very common, and sometimes it's just more practical because the garment itself is very thick and you want to finish it in a way with minimal bulk. And with thicker fabrics like denim, it would be very, very hard to use other types of finishings because it would add an additional bulk that the wearer just wouldn't want. It wouldn't look right. So sergers are often used to finish raw edges in jeans. That would be one example. So if you turn your jeans inside out, you're probably going to find at least somewhere on the seam of the leg a serged edge. Now we have something here that I'm going to show you. This is probably the wrong thing to show you, but it's what I had to hand. Okay, this is it's something, but this is an edge that has been finished with a serger. So that's what it looks like. So you probably know what I'm talking about now that you've seen it. But before, I'm sure it was a bit like, well, what's a serger? What's an overlocker? There you go. That's what an edge looks like when it's been finished with a serger. There are different variations of those stitches, by the way, but it will look something like that. You might have more. The stitches might be closer together. It will be a variation of that. Now, in a high quality garment, that edge, if that was a garment that people were wearing, what's going to happen over time? The edges are more exposed because it's just a little bit of a thread that's holding them together. The tighter the threads, the longer you would think that would last because it's less exposed. So when you're getting changed and it might pull and snag on certain things, it's more protected. The least amount of edge exposed, the better, because it's more protected and you know the threads can't pull as easily, and it's going to last through wash cycles. If it can go in the washing machine, it's going to just standard wear and tear. It's just going to last that bit longer, or it could be a lifetime longer, depending on what it is. I just want to say, all serged edges with the serger aren't bad. Like I said, denim, very strong fabric, wear and tear on average, you know, it's great. Depends on the type of denim and, you know, the different mixes that are used in the fabric, because you can get denim mixes and whatnot. But it's a necessarily bad thing if you've used a serger to finish something. But we're talking about garments that are high quality and is going to last you a long time, because there is a difference. But I just want to be clear on that. Now, if we take it back to this skirt, what you can see here, the black, and I did this so it's contrasting and easy to explain. The black strips that you can see is actually called bias binding, and that is what I have used to cover the raw edges, so they are completely concealed. You can't get to them. They are sewn down, locks away, key has been thrown, can't get to that. So there is no way, unless this bias binding is pulled away and undone somehow, you can't get to the edges. That means that this garment, in theory, it's a silk, it's a Dupion silk with a viscose lining, so natural material, it's nice and breathable. But this garment, perfect for summer. I digress. This garment should last me a good amount of time. It's made to last. The edges are completely concealed. You know, the threads, we won't go into the whole thing about, you know, thread length and stitch length and whatnot, but the edges are completely concealed, and that is the main thing. The hem is completely turned under. So again, sometimes you can have a serger that finishes the hem, but this is rolled under, sewn and then pressed. So again, completely concealed. So there are no raw edges, open edges that can be pulled on and can fray and just come apart over time. And the reason I mentioned it's viscose and silk is because naturally those fabrics do fray very easily, because they're natural fabrics. It's just, that's just what happens. So it was even more important that I finish this properly to make sure I get the length of wear out of this garment I would want to. So when things are made to last, when something's well made, you're going to see certain things. You're going to see, not necessarily, there are different ways, there are different types of stitches and finishings that you can use, and seams that you can use, but you might see bias binding to finish edges. You might see French seams, where again it's fully encased, so the edges are just never on show. You don't see them at all. There are different ways that you can do it, but what you will see is fully concealed edges. That's what you will see. Not these edges, these edges. So that is one thing